right? So it's not like I'm going to go to counseling for a year, or I'm going to watch some documentaries and read some books, and now I'm fixed. I've reached this place of
Yeah.
enlightenment. It's like every layer that you peel back, it kind of reveals more problems and more things that you need to heal. And then it's this continual journey. And I think, even for myself, there's been parts of the journey where I kind of go, man, I wish I could kind of be unaware again and turn back around. Right. Because like, it's like, once you're aware, there's certain things that you can no longer tolerate or ignore. But sometimes it's just constant effort. And then kind of, when I was naive and unaware, like the saying, ignorance is bliss. But it's, at the end of the day, it's really not, because you're probably miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're unaware, but you're also miserable. But becoming more aware, you just become more aware of your shit. And you, like I said, I keep learning more and more stuff, and go, every time I think like I've reached this milestone, like, I'm still really fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, you're always kind of like that, where I'm same shit. I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, okay, I've got it now. Like, I'm good. And then it's like, or because I've been doing life coaching for the past year and a half now. And many times I will go, fuck, like, why haven't you even seen this guy anymore?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need a fucking life coach. I was like, I'm fine. Like, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just talk to him this one last time. And then I go in and we chat, and then I leave, and I'm like, God, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I thought I didn't need to go to that.
Yeah.
And like every time, it's crazy how you can kind of just like think you're there, but then as soon as you, I don't know, it's just always work.
And even, like even the point I'm at now, where it's, I have to kind of keep reminding myself that, you need, like, we all need help from others at any stage. So you grow and you get to this new stage, and maybe you just need a new coach or a better coach or a different coach, but you're never going to really get to a point where like you're the guru who can do it all alone. I really don't think there's such a thing, right? There's a lot that I can share with people, and there's a lot of people that may look to me and be like, wow, like, you know so much, like I can be a teacher. But as much as I'm a teacher to them, I'm still very much a student of life, learning tons on my own from other people. Right. And so I think that's kind of the journey, is being the student and the teacher always. Right. And sharing, but not thinking that you have it all figured out.
Yeah, no, for sure. You still have to be like getting the information and stuff elsewhere too. Yeah, I like that. And you mentioned some stuff about like psychedelics. I was curious a little bit about how you got into that and what you sort of did with it.
Yeah. So again, I kind of call it like, I guess, planting seeds, and there's probably people that might listen to this, and some of the stuff I say might plant a seed for them. But yeah, I think there was just different stages. I'd heard, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I worked with a personal trainer, and he was a real kind of like, I don't know, he had like Viking blood. He was very intense. And I remember one time him telling me about ayahuasca, and at the time I'd never heard of it. And he kind of explained it to me. Didn't really get it at the time, but it kind of, again, it planted that seed where it was like, okay. And then, maybe a couple of years later, hear it on a podcast, and, and then, I started meeting people in my life that knew about these things. And actually one of the, I guess probably the starting point was maybe about 3 years ago. I had been reading about, magic mushrooms, right? And some of the research that was going on about, psychedelics and mushrooms, and how they can be so beneficial in, kind of, awareness and bring you these insights and healing and things like that. My only experience had been in university, where it was just to get messed up and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so here it was like, I hadn't done something like that in like, over 10 years. And, so anyway, I had been kind of researching that and just kind of curious about it. And then I was at a holistic event, and I met a guy who had done the program that I had done. He was alumni. And we just got chatting about the universe and life. He was kind of an eccentric guy. and just had this worldly stuff to share. And it was right up my alley where I was ready to engage in that kind of conversation. And I had mentioned to him, you know, how I'd been doing some reading on mushrooms and how I'm thinking of reintroducing mushrooms into my life, but using it as therapeutic medicine as opposed to just some fun thing. And so we had a good conversation. Then a few days later, he showed up to my work, and he brought me like a David's tea canister. And he was like, hey, like, these have been super helpful on my journey. I don't have use for them anymore. I want to pass the gift on. And I opened it up, and it was a bunch of magic mushrooms. So it was kind of like the universe literally handing me, handing me the medicine. And so I probably kept that for maybe 6 months, and then, you know, kind of got to a point where I was like, I'm going to do this. And, yeah, I kind of planned a day, and I took a handful of mushrooms and went and found a place in a park, and I brought a journal and headphones and a blanket, and was like, okay, like, I'm just going to go for the hero's journey here. And, almost immediate regret when I consumed them at first, because it was a bumpy ride up. And, you know, I remember having the thought, okay, I can still get back to my apartment. Like, maybe I shouldn't be out here. But almost as I had that thought, there was like no way. Like, my legs were done. Like, it was like forcing me to basically like lie down. And I laid down and kind of surrendered to it. And it ended up being probably to this day still the most beautiful experience of my life. Initially there was a lot of fear. It kind of took me through some darker feelings, and ultimately I came out this other side where I guess I would describe it. It was like something in my mind opened up, and the universe, it was just downloading information, and it was in a language that wasn't words or talking. I can't even describe it. It was just a knowing. And just remember just like literally nodding my head along, like, okay, I get it. Yep. Okay. Yeah. It's all about love. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. And it's just like whatever the communication was. But what it did for me in that day is I felt an incredible feeling of love and joy. And I realized in that moment that I had actually never felt joy before. So there was some sadness in that realization that here I am in my mid-30s and I'd never actually felt joy. But then I was actually feeling it and feeling how good that was, and feeling love. And it was just, again, it was another door that opened. It was another door that opened my awareness.